Okay. Sorry, it's been a while. I hurt my back. So this is gonna be a short video, quick video. And it's we're gonna read Isaiah chapter 66 today. Um it's something really deep at the end that I want to get to. This pretty much is gonna talk about Christ is coming and everybody's coming back to the kingdom when Christ comes and everything. Alright, so Isaiah 66. And let's start at one. It says, "Thus saith the Lord, the heaven is my throne, and the earth is my footstool. Where is the house that ye shall build unto me? And where is the place of my rest? For all nations," it says, "for all those things have mine hand made, and all those things have been, saith the Lord. But to this man I will look, even to him that is poor, and of contrite spirit, and trembleth at my word." It says, he that killeth an ox is as if he slew a man. He that sacrifices a lamb as if he cuts off a dog's neck. He that offereth an obligation as if he offers swine's blood. He that burneth incense as if he blessed an idol. Yea, they have chosen their own ways, and their soul delighteth in their abominations. So let's just stop here because let's break that down. It says, so he's like, he that killeth the ox. First off, he's like, he's explaining, heaven is my throne, like the heavens. Earth is my footstool. You know, so God is like, what could you build for me, right? And then he goes down to say, because the place that God's supposed to find rest is in us by being obedient, right? So what could you build me? When I created there, I created you, right? So then it says, "For all those things hath my hand made, and all those things have been, saith the Lord." Because history just repeats itself. Like, we probably don't have the technology that they had before the flood. That's why we can't recreate the pyramids. You know what I'm saying? So we don't understand even what the pyramids were really created for. Like, everything we have thought about them is just a theory. Just theories. So they use facts to solidify their theory as a whole. Little facts. It says, but to this man I will look. So he's like, but I'm going to look on some people. He's like, even to him that is poor and of a contrite spirit, and that trembleth at my word. So I'm going to look at the people who follow my word. Even if you poor and have a contrite spirit, but if you tremble, if you're afraid of my word, so you're keeping it, that's what I'm going to look at. He says, but these are all the other people he's not looking at. That's why I wanted to break that down before we go over this. It says, he that killeth an ox as if he slew a man. See, so at the time of Christ is coming, all things is going to be, all death is going to be done. That's why he says the lion will lie down with the lamb, and little kid will put his hands in the cockatrice's den, and no harm shall come on my holy mountain. So this is speaking about Christ's coming, right? So ain't going to be no bloodshed during Christ's coming. And the people who do, he's ranking it out for you. He that killeth the ox as if he slew a man. He that sacrifices the lamb as if he cut off a dog's neck. He that offer an obligation as if he offered swine's blood. He that burneth incense as if he blessed his own idol. And that kind of happens right now. Like 90% of the times when you light incense, you light it on some type of jar. That jar is an idol. Some type of symbolism and demonic about it. If you get candles from Walmart, you go light them up. If you ever look at the candles, they all got every John, Christ, everybody, Mary, they all got a sun behind their head. It's always a sun behind their head on all the pictures of the candles to let you know what you worship. You worship the sun. That's why they put it up there. That's why it's not Christ. God told us not to create idols. right? And it says, I will also I will also choose their delusions and will bring their fears upon them. Because when I called, none did swear. When I spake, they did not hear. But they did evil before my eyes and chose that in which I delighted not. So he's doing this because the people chose to not follow him. They chose to do their own thing. That's what's going on. Everybody's doing their own thing. Nobody's following God. It says, hear the word of the Lord, ye that tremble at his word. It says, your brethren that hated you, that cast you out for my name's sake, said, let the Lord be glorified. But he shall appear to your joy, and they shall be ashamed. Right? So he's saying that the nations who took us down stood forth saying, okay, we take over God now. Let God be glorified. We're the system that brings you to God. Even though we took away God's order in which he set up. So it's like at the end of the day, they're going to come back ashamed of what they did. Right? It says, the voice of noise from the city, a voice from the temple, a voice of the Lord that rendereth recompense to his enemies. Before she travailed, she brought forth. Before her pains came, she was delivered of a man child. That was Christ. That's speaking of the woman, Israel. That's why the people are so important, because it's always speaking of the people. So the woman is Israel, the people in which Christ came from, the bloodline. Those people still live today. It says, who have heard such a thing? Who have seen such a thing? Shall the earth be made to bring forth in one day? So he's letting them know, like, this is not talking about the earth switching out. This is talking about Christ is coming. Who have heard such a thing? To believe in the fables of what it's saying. Believe in the truth of what it meant. Right? It says, or shall a nation be born at once? So, like, did that change? Isaiah is saying this. People got to understand, like, Isaiah is saying this. Shall a nation be born at once? Because that's what's said. Once Christ came, Christianity came in. So what happened to the mother? What happened to everything else that was set in order? Shall a nation be born at once? So once Christ came, everything else that happened to bring Christ here was no longer mattered? No. It says, who have heard such a thing? Who have seen such things? It says, shall the earth be made to bring forth in one day? Or shall a nation be born at once? For as soon as Zion travaileth, she brought forth her son, or her children. Right? She brought forth her children. Shall I bring to the birth, and not cause to bring forth, saith the Lord? Shall I cause to bring forth and shut the womb, saith God? Right? So if I was going to bring one forth, would I not open up the womb so all can come? Like the nation was birthed when Christ came out of the nation. He was a king to save the whole nation. People got to remember that at first. Christ was like, don't go to the other nation. I came for my nation. I came to save my people. So he's like, will I shut up the womb just because once I brought this guy forth, Christ, once I brought my son forth and showed man how to operate, would I shut up the womb so only he can now operate like that? No. It says, shall I cause to bring forth and shut up the womb, saith thy God? Rejoice ye with Jerusalem, and be glad with her. All ye that love her, rejoice for joy with her. All ye that mourn for her. Why is it saying this? Because when Christ left, what happened? His people went down. That's what Christ said. It says that you will be trampled on by the Gentiles into the times of the, he says you will be sold into all other, this is what Christ said, you will be sold into all other nations, and you will be trampled on by the Gentiles until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled. What would that mean? That other nations would run the world. They would no longer recognize you as God's people. And this would happen until their time was up. Because after Esau, when Esau was born, Jacob was grabbing his heel. That after Esau's kingdom comes Jacob's. Who running the world? Esau. There's nothing wrong with that. But the problem, the thing is that they're not going to want to give up ownership of that. They're not going to give up their power, because guess what? When Christ comes, it ain't going to be no countries and stuff the way we set it up. It's going to be the way he set it up. There'll be no China, no Russia, no Europe. It's going to be like that. Whatever Christ says it is what it is. Period. So let's keep going. It says, all ye that mourn for her. It says, that ye may suck and be satisfied with the breast of her consolations. This is not no dirty thing. It's saying, mourn with her, weep with her, help these people. Once you recognize their condition, so therefore you can celebrate with them when they get their reward. The kingdom of God's reward is not on earth. You understand? Like, it's going to come on earth when the kingdom of God comes to earth. But until then, this is the devil's kingdom. Your house is not a reward from God. And anybody who says that is not thinking about all the other people who wouldn't be able to have a house even if they believe. So if their belief was more than yours and their obedience was more than yours, and God didn't give them a house as he loved you more than he loved them, be careful, because it's a tricky situation. The devil gives good gifts. He offered Christ every kingdom in the world and all the riches thereof, if he would bow to worship him. Christ, the Son of God. Think about that. It says, for thus saith the Lord, behold, I will extend peace to her like a river, in the glory of the Gentiles, like a flowing stream. So what's going to happen? The world, peace is going to be surrounding his people again. And the world is going to know that they're his people again. So they're going to be the glory of God on the earth, like they were supposed to be at the beginning. It says, in the glory of the Gentiles, like a flowing stream. And then they shall suck, and ye shall be borne upon her sides, and be dandled upon her knees, as one whom his mother comforteth, so will I comfort you, and ye shall be comforted in Jerusalem. That's the people, not the place. Understand that. These people are going to comfort you once I enlighten them and comfort them. That's what he's saying. And when ye see this, your heart shall rejoice, and your bones shall flourish like a herb. In the land, it says, in the hand of the Lord shall be known towards his servants, in his kingdom, and towards his enemies. Is everybody gonna know now? You're either getting whooped or you're getting celebrated and rejoiced upon. Now this is gonna get deep, this last part, to wrap it up. It says, for behold, because my back's stiffening up too. It says, for behold, the Lord will come with fire, and with chariots like a whirlwind. Chariots means objects that ride upon the wind. They don't mean things you ride horses in. We talking about spaceships here. God's machinery is what Christ is coming back. Whew. Chariots like a whirlwind, to render his anger with fury, and his rebuke with flames of fire. For by fire and by his sword will the Lord plead with all flesh. And the slain of the Lord shall be many. So many people is going to die because they did not believe. Everybody say they got faith. But this is saying right here, it's your faith is void for some reason. We got to figure out why then, right? Because it's saying right here, many shall die. Just like Christ said, there'll be many who come in my name. Be careful not to follow them. That's what he said. Many will come in my name. Be careful not to follow them. Okay? It says, in the slain of the Lord there shall be many, they that sanctify themselves, and purify themselves in the gardens, behind one tree in the midst, eating swine's flesh. So think about this. Even during the time of Christ's coming, while we're supposed to be sanctifying ourselves and cleaning ourselves, this is proof that we're supposed to. We just said that's what they were supposed to do. They're going to be behind rocks eating pig. So this should answer any New Testament questions about, do you get punished now still for eating pig? Because what is this talking about? Christ is coming in his judgment. What are they doing during that time? Eating pig. What did he say? Anybody eating any animal. Just said that earlier. It's about to get punished during this time. So people got to understand that this is a change of the world that's about to happen. And it says they sanctify themselves and purify themselves in the gardens, and behind one tree in the midst, eating swine's flesh, in the abomination, in the mouse. That's what just happened. Some Europeans just went to Africa, to Mongolia, and killed a rare mouse, a rare big rat, a big mokat or something. Look, people should look it up. They ate it, he cooked it, him and his wife ate it. They died 3 days later from the Black Plague. They done locked like 200 something people up for it. So people should look that up. Like, God has warned us. What does Ebola come from? The pig. Black Plague. The mouse. What is people doing? It says, in the abomination, in the mouse, they shall be consumed together, saith the Lord. So even though he allowed you that time to get purified, when you come and you hiding and doing all of that, you both getting consumed with the fire. That's what he's saying, whoever eating the mouse or the pig. Don't matter. It says, for I have known their works in their thoughts, and it shall come that I will gather all the nations in tongues, and they shall come and see my glory. So this is talking about all nationalities and people. But guess what they're going to be bringing? This is important. He says, and I will set a sign among them, and I will send those that escape unto them, it says, of them unto the nations, to Tarshish, Pool, and Lud, and draw that bow, to Tubal, and Iwan, and to the isles afar off, that have not been heard of my fame, neither have they seen my glory, and they shall declare my glory among the Gentiles. So it's saying that all of these guys is going to be separating his people, bringing them together, and he's sending them all around the world to declare his glory before he comes. Right? So everybody is going to know, or should have an idea during this time. But remember what it said earlier, a lot of people going to be slain already. So these are the people, they might not have knew about God. So if you got questions, oh, what about people that didn't know? If they got good heart, God is saying he's going to send people to tell them about him. Right here. And it says that draw the bow to Tubal and Iwan, to the isles afar off, that have not heard of my fame, neither have seen my glory. And they shall declare my glory among the Gentiles. And they shall bring all of your brethren for an offering unto the Lord. So what happens once the glory is declared to the Gentile during Christ's coming? We become the offering. I had one. I was treating them good, God. I was holding them down. Look, here you go. Ask them. You see how it switches? In that same city that it was said, you are not the people of God. It will be said, you will be told, you are the children of the living God, right? So this is the switch. This is the turnaround. And it says, and they shall bring all of your brethren for an offering unto the Lord. And this don't mean to kill them. This means like bringing gold to a king. So when the Bible says that I will make a man as rare as rare as pure gold, as the pure gold of a fur, this is what he's speaking of, as precious. These people are precious. Now they're coming back to the Lord, right? It says, as an offering unto the Lord out of all nations, upon horses and chariots, and in litters, and upon mules, and upon swift beasts, into my holy mountain Jerusalem, saith the Lord, as the children of Israel. It says, as the children of Israel bring an offering in a clean vessel unto the house of the Lord. So it's saying that it's gonna be all cleaned up and nice for them. The whole way that they come, they gonna be dressed up, because these now is known these are God's people. The whole time it wasn't accepted who God's people was. Now it's known. You gotta respect it. Now the preciousness or the rarity of what you have in your grasp and what you know about a person has changed. So now they're gonna be bringing. You get the best car that I can find. You get the best thing I can find to get this brother up there. We gotta have it nice for him. This is a person of God, right? And it says. And it says, as the children of Israel bring an offering in a clean vessel into the house of the Lord, and I will also take of them for priests and for Levites, saith the Lord. So the people who being brought, it's going to be the priests and the Levites. That was the order of the priests, remember? For as the new heaven and the new earth, which I shall make, shall remain before me, saith the Lord, so shall your seed in your name remain. And it shall come to pass that from one, so what's going to remain forever? The seed in the name. What is seed? Seed is a Greek word that comes from sperma. Only a man produces it. That means it has to come from the bloodline of these people. It means the same people, Christ came from David. That's what that means. And the people of Christ still reign. So the people who share the same blood of Christ are still here. Right? So, and it says, and it shall, okay. And it shall come to pass that from one new moon to another, from one Sabbath to another, shall all flesh come worship before me, saith the Lord. So what does new moon mean? It doesn't mean the new moon like you're following the moon. It means a month, the new month. When you read new moon, if you actually go down to the definition, there's two different new moons in the Bible. This is referring to a new month, because what's a new month? It's a Sabbath. 4 seasons. They all fall on Sabbaths. Spring, fall, winter. You know what I'm saying? They all fall. Summer. They all fall on Sabbaths. They all come in on the Sabbath, just like the beginning of the year. That's why God gave us 7 days and ordered the calendar, so we would be in order. And that's a point of keeping his commandments. He says new moons and Sabbaths. He's not talking about Sundays. Isaiah didn't celebrate Sunday. And he's telling you the whole end of the world. So if you got to think about that. If this man could see the end of the world and he couldn't see that they changed it to Sunday, no, it wasn't changed. Because you won't know what the new month is in the Sabbaths, in his holy days, if you're not keeping the Sabbath, which falls on Friday night to Saturday night. And peep this, it says, and it shall come to pass that from one new moon to another, and from one Sabbath to another, shall all flesh, that's not talking about just God's people, all people who going to be in Christ's kingdom is going to keep this. All people. It says, all flesh shall come and worship me, saith the Lord. And they shall go forth and look upon the carcasses of the men that have transgressed against me. For their worm shall not die, neither shall their fire be quenched, and they shall be an abhorring unto all flesh. So your worm, your soul, the thing that's in the deepest part of you is not gonna be dead. It's just gonna be the body. So people is gonna be able to watch this. You gotta understand, this is before the judgment is fully done, right? And then the earth becomes a black hole, not the sun, the earth, a black hole with fire, right? It sucks the heavens into it, become a perpetual place of destruction and torment. Then there'll be a new heaven the new earth. But that's the seventh day. That's after 1,000 years of this peace that Christ promised. And everybody who make it to this peace don't have to worry about the judgment when everybody get caught up and judged. Because once you get caught up and judged, if you go, you don't get to go. You don't get to, you gotta stay. You know what I'm saying? So this is important because Isaiah 66, this is important because people don't believe that we have to be obedient to God. And this clearly shows from Isaiah's standard, like, that the people who were getting punished for transgression, even down to the dietary laws on Christ's coming. And the people who was getting rewarded, including the Gentiles, were all keeping his days and his appointments, his everything, his order, pretty much, like it's written in the Bible, on earth as it is in heaven. That's what our job is to be in the same alignment that the angels and God are in heaven. And he set it up with us with the book. So thank y'all, and y'all have a blessed one.